welcome to another episode of Carpool Aftermarket with myself, Mark Field, IWF Chief Executive, and Toby Whewell, who is the Sales and Marketing Director for Frasley Mobility. And let's start with that if we can, because there's been a lot of changes in the business. Can you explain to us the sort of the setup, the nature, and the sort of breakdown of the company and also the brands?
Yeah, you're right. There's been a lot of change over the last 2 years. So we were known in the market as Duratec, which is light vehicle and used to be commercial vehicle braking. We sold the business to Frasley, which is a Brazilian original equipment manufacturer of CV friction. We converted our CV business away from Duratec to Frasley, which is an OE brand, which kind of made sense. We've just introduced Nakata chassis products that launched this month, and because of all these changes and the fact that we're now selling multiple brands, we needed something over the top of it as an umbrella, if you like. So in 2023, Frasley South America launched Frasley Mobility.
Yeah.
They have far more brands than we do. I think they have 15, 20 brands that they own. And it just makes sense from a marketing point of view, because it did not make sense to have Duratec selling Frasley and Nakata.
Okay.
It does make sense to have Frasley Mobility and then the three brands plus Abtex underneath it. It allows us to, so for Automechanica in June, we will be Frasley Mobility with the four brands represented, rather than trying to shoehorn brands into other channels. So we can have one for Frasley, one for Duratec, one for Nakata, and one for Abtex.
Is it difficult, that proposition, in getting everything aligned as you want it, because it's a big change? I mean, a lot of people will know the Duratec brand. There will be instances where a brand, we're going into marketing now, where a brand is better known than the others, and perceptions are everything, aren't they? And then you've got different markets, so we're not just talking passenger car, we're talking commercial vehicle. So it must be difficult for, well, I say it's difficult, but you're doing it very well, you and your team, to navigate those segments, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it hasn't been as much of a challenge as I think everyone thought to talk to the staff about it. That was the biggest challenge.
Yeah.
Customers. A customer who's Duratec really doesn't give two hoots about whether with Frasley Mobility, he or she just cares about whether they're going to get the product, whether it's on time, whether it's good quality and the service. And that's kind of what we wanted to do. We wanted to link the new brands, Frasley and Nakata, with all the great work we've done with Duratec.
Yeah.
You can't have Duratec selling those brands, because that's not right. So we did Automechanica Frankfurt as Frasley Mobility for the first time in Europe, and that went really well. And all of a sudden, then the staff understood what we were doing.
So it's kind of a journey for them as much as it is customers and the UK market.
Some of these have been Duratec for 20 years. Duratec as a brand is 30 years old this year, and we've got some people who have been with us 15, 20 plus years.
And how is the market currently? Because we'd have heard at the start of the year that it wasn't as, and again, we look at the data, new car sales not the best they've been over the last few years, and the aftermarket is growing, but the market has been tough for some businesses, the first quarter.
Yeah, we're no different. It's been a challenging first quarter. We're there or thereabouts, to be honest. We're numbers wise, we're okay. We like our numbers to be better than what we wanted. I think everybody does, and it's tough out there. I think there's a lot of competition.
You're in a competitive product sector as well. I know everyone will say everything's a competitive product sector, but braking is a tough one.
There's a lot of brands and there's a lot of new entrants, but I think there's the report that came out last week, the week before, braking units as a whole are down. Now ours are okay, they're holding up, but there just isn't the growth that we've seen in some first quarters. Like last year was, we started with freight train, but April's been much better.
Yeah.
And I think the key is just not to panic. It's looking at your data, are we losing business because of competitors? Are we losing customers? Or are our customers just selling less products? And I think that's the case in most instances. So then it's looking at, well, what can we do to help them sell more products?
Yes.
That's the challenge at the moment from both sales, marketing, product, everything.
I think you have to look at it with that clear head and say, listen, it's you're not going to, it's not a complete catastrophe overnight. So you look at it and you adapt. Dare I mention the term tariffs in terms of adapter? I mean, I know no one is immune from this, but have you seen any of that take effect yet? Or have you seen any market changes?
To be honest, we've really seen a positive impact because we don't export.
We'll take every bit of good news you've got, Toby.
Yeah, no, me too. That's what I'm clinging to.
Yes.
We don't export to the States.
Yes.
So those tariffs don't really affect us, and our customers don't export to the States either. But what we found is because of the tariffs, threat or real, we found that a lot of the Chinese suppliers have been coming back in touch. So businesses that we used to deal with or have talked to in the past we've had more visits over the last 2 months from Chinese factories than we've ever had before.
Go well.
Existing suppliers have been helping us with our costs because they know that our growth is more profitable growth than if they have big business in America or for American companies. So yeah, that's the crumb of comfort we've been taking, is that we've managed to mitigate some of the big costs that we've seen this year in some better pricing and some better terms, which is always nice.
With every challenge there's an opportunity.
Yeah.
And speaking of opportunities, I mean, we talk a lot in the market. The IWF is doing a lot of work with other partners, with garages. We're a much broader church now, but also how we bring new people into the trade. And I don't just mean technicians, but also motor factors and suppliers. Skills, is that a challenge for you as well as a business? Is it, within your operation, how you recruit people into the market, the next generation of people?
I think it depends on the position. Product management is always a struggle. We used to have a policy where it's all office based. So what we were looking for is an automotive product manager who lived in the greater Doncaster area. We were trying looking for a unicorn.
Yes.
We did actually find some. But what we've done now is we've changed it completely and looked for the right person, and as a result of that, 3/4 of my product team work remotely. They don't work anywhere near Doncaster, so they come up every month. We have a meeting.
Yeah.
They work from home, and it's fine. It works well. Just 6-7 months ago, I think it was, we got a marketing manager. Now we weren't expecting to be able to find someone necessarily from automotive. It would have been a nice to have, but we were quite prepared to look at someone outside, albeit it would have taken a lot longer for them to get up to speed. But we found someone who's really great and has helped us change the business.
Yeah.
Which is great.
It's amazing because that is then what changes those perceptions, isn't it, in the marketplace? So what's the plan sort of for the next quarter in terms of where your ambitions are? You mentioned Automechanica. What can we expect to see there?
So all of our focus is on Automechanica. First time we're doing Automechanica Birmingham. First time we're presenting in the UK as Frasle Mobility. So we are laser focused on that. We've got Nakata, which only launched this month, so that's brand new, something to talk about. We only launched Frasle 12 months ago.
Right. You like launching things.
Yeah, it's a good way to get some growth, to be honest.
But you've got things to talk about. You're always, you will be associated with having a dynamic there. You're always looking to give something to the market, to push back, to say, listen, we've got an exciting proposition.
Yeah, I think it benefits the staff as well. I mean, I can only speak from my personal experience that there's nothing worse than every day, week, month, quarter, year being the same.
Yeah.
Same part numbers, same products, same customers. If you've got new stuff to talk about, it's more interesting. Yeah, it's busy. It's bringing new products, new brands. It's a challenge. There's a lot of work involved. The lead up, the launch, the after parts of that. It takes a lot of work from a lot of different departments, and most of it's unseen. Before you launch a product, you've got your product management beavering away for 12, 18 months on just a shed load of data. So so Automechanical, we've got loads of stuff to talk about. There's a couple of new product groups that we can talk about with Duratec. There's a lot going on. There's the whole Frasle mobility concept in general that we can talk about, and what we're hoping is that when we talk to people, everything starts to make sense and fall into line, and people can see what we're doing.
So the last person who was in your seat left a question which is not too dissimilar to what you've said, which was, we talk a lot about the next 10, 20, 15 years, 10, 20, 30 years. What can businesses do right now? What should businesses do right now? So tomorrow, if someone's watching this or listening to this, what should they do to support their business?
That's a very good question, because from a business point of view, the here and now is generally numbers based.
Yes.
What we try and do at the moment, and this has happened since we've been acquired by Frasle, is what they've forced us into doing, which is really beneficial, is looking further down the line. So I know that I'm going to answer the question in a roundabout way, but once you know what you want to do further down the line, the decisions you make now are taking them in the right direction. So if you know what you want to be achieving in 5 years, you can make the right decisions now.
Yes. From
a product, a staff point of view, that's the key. You're absolutely stuffed if you haven't got your staff. So it's making sure they're happy, especially in the current climate. It's been really tough over the last 12 months.
I guess there's no bad time to look and just take stock, because it is busy, and it is, we can be really sort of in it, but sometimes just have moments of being on it and saying, right, let me just look at all areas of my business, just an exercise, looking at data, looking at the staff, looking at development, just examine, just take a health check.
Yeah, so it's what's over the horizon.
Yeah.
Because actually, it's part of my role and our MD's role is to look further ahead.
Yeah.
So that the decisions we're making now are aligned with what we want to be achieving.
Yes.
So we're into that planning stage now. Every July, we have a big old meeting in Brazil where we have to present our 5-year plan, and it's great because it focuses you on what you want to be achieving, how, and then the ripple effect is, well, what needs to be done.
Yeah.
So we're in the, we've extended Ireland, we've extended Bradford, we're in the throes of extending Doncaster, and you need to make those decisions now, because in the future we're going to need that space.
And now you have to leave a question for the next person, to which I answer. I don't know why I answer. I think I've just been selfish. But you have to leave a question. It can be anything. It can be love, life, and the universe. So we've had a plethora of things. My question back in when we did it on the golf cart was, what would you say to your 16-year-old self?
Okay, so on the similar lines of mine is what does the industry need to do to enable us to thrive in the future?
Okay, it's a good question. I'm going to answer that now. I think this industry, our industry, I think we need a good news revolution. I am sick and tired of seeing bad news, and it's not everywhere, but I'm a glass 3/4 full, and I just think sometimes, I know we're not perfect, we're really not, just to be a little bit more positive. We can just be 1% positive in terms of our outlook, and it goes back to the whole perception thing about the whole trade, and just be a bit more, yes, there's good and bad in everything, there really is, but we're so resilient, we're so entrepreneurial, we have such great opportunities. Just a little bit of celebrating it, and I know Joe would love that question, because it would be a case of the Automechanica is a celebration of the market in a lot of respects, but for me, I just think we need to change our outlook. positive.
I mean, that applies to society as a whole, doesn't it? Everyone's very quick to jump on the slightest bit of negative, and not everyone can win at everything all the time. Isn't possible.
Yeah.
And sometimes people just need to take a breath.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's stuff that needs to happen, stuff that is happening. But yeah, we've got a lot of changes ahead of us in the market.
Yeah.
It's how we adapt to it, really.
Brilliant. Thank you for your time today on Carpool Aftermarket. Thank you to Toby from Frasley Mobility.
Cheers, thanks, Mark.